Hi, this is NUSensei, and today I'm answering a viewer question. This one comes from Daniel, who's been following and commenting a lot of my reflection videos. So, thanks a lot, Daniel. This is the question which Daniel asked. How many days per week would you like to train? And, other than work, what prevents you from doing so? Now, to answer this question, ideally, I'd like to train around 3 to 4 times per week, but realistically, I'd like to get 1 day. And that's been really disappointing the past year. The second question, and that's what stops you from doing so, is a very poignant question. I think this is very important for everyone who's an archer. This is something which I've thought about very seriously over the past year, because it's been a very tumultuous year, it's been very hard for me. And I've kind of narrowed down a few reasons why things haven't gone the way they should have. Now, I've been doing archery for just over 4 years now, and while my archery journey has been a bit different to most people, I think everyone can relate in some way. So, I'm going to discuss some of the factors that prevent me from committing to an archery training routine. Perhaps some of you may get something out of this. I'll start with some light reasons. Weather is a factor. I do live in Melbourne, so the weather does tend to be kind of erratic. If the weather conditions aren't favourable, then I'm not inclined to shoot, since I only have an outdoor range, which means it might be 4 degrees Celsius, or it might be severe thunderstorms, and that prevents me from getting out to train. That's just something I can't really plan around. Look, I used to be a lot harder than I am right now. I used to go out and train in 4-degree heat. Now that I'm a bit older and I'm a bit more, passive or idle, I don't feel like going out there. If I'm already out there, then I'm more inclined to keep on shooting through rain and through heat. But actually going out there, it sounds like I'm making an excuse, but it's not fun. It's not fun to shoot in rain. It's not fun to shoot in extreme heat. I can do it, but I don't find it very beneficial. And, as a side thing, it's in theory, do other training instead of going out to shoot, but that doesn't always happen. So that's one reason. Weather is a factor. Time is another factor. If I go out to train, I prefer to have 1, 2, even 3 good hours of training. Because the time you take to pack your stuff up, take to the range, get everything set up, shoot, pack it up, go home. I want to justify that time by spending at least the same amount of time and more to do some good training. That includes warm-ups, blind ball shooting, shooting a benchmark or shooting a round, doing cooldowns, that sort of thing. And that takes time. I used to shoot with people who might go out for half an hour and then get tired and go home. And I thought, well, what's the point? You've gone out there. You're already out. You might as well make the most out of it rather than pack up after 5 shots. So this is a big problem in winter seasons because the sun sets earlier, about 6:30. So if I have a long day at work, I might have only about an hour to set up and shoot and pack up. So I don't know, that's one of the excuses I make, I guess you can call it that. But I find, again, there's no lighting where I shoot. So when it gets dark, it gets dark. I don't feel inclined to shoot, so that's another factor, especially in the winter off-season. Normally, it's an indoor season. Again, I don't have an indoor range, so I don't feel inclined to shoot outdoors late if I can't get enough hours in. More to the point, however, are the heavy reasons. These are the things which consistently hinder my training. Even though the question specified besides work, I think work deserves a very special mention. Most of you know by now that I am a high school teacher. And there's this myth that teachers have it easy. They've got short hours, they've got long holidays, and this is a very misleading thing to say. Anyone who's worked in a school knows the intensity and the stress and the workload that teachers have. It's very rare for a teacher to go home with nothing to do. If it's not marking work, then it's planning lessons, it's finding resources, it's making worksheets, it's doing something. And that's just the work side. Even if I manage to get everything done and leave it at school, there's still after hours commitments, there's still meetings, there's still professional development, there's still debating night, there's parent-teacher interviews, there's all this stuff happening every few weeks that blocks out whole evenings. There's no way around that. Unless I say, alright, I'm just going to disappear at 3 o'clock, I have to commit to my work. And that takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot out of me. It's very emotionally intense and emotionally stressful. And sometimes you just want to go home and chill. I bring my stuff with me to work all the time. All my archery gear is in my car, so if I do want to train, I can go to the range and train. But sometimes you just don't feel like it. That's something which is very, also exclusive to teaching, but teaching is typified by that sort of exposure. Like, very few jobs have that constant interaction with people, and you burn out. And that is one of the heavy reasons why I find I'm not inclined to train. I'm not in the right mindset. Speaking of which, mindset is very important. A lot of people find archery relaxing. They do archery to relax. And that makes a lot of sense. I'm not like that. I need to be calm and relaxed to do archery, to begin training. I find the training itself doesn't relax me. This may sound counterintuitive, but archery to me is not inherently fun. If I want to have fun, I'll play computer games. But archery to me is a challenge. It's a personal challenge. It's a psychological challenge. It's a physical challenge. So for me to actually enjoy what I'm doing, I have to progress. I have to reach milestones. I have to hit personal bests and so on. But for me, archery is a lot of work. Not just the training, but the whole archery thing. So that's running the club, that's making archery videos. All these things encompass archery as a whole. So the more time I spend doing other things apart from training, the more stressed out I am. So I think for me, if I want to have a good training session, then I need to have a clear, calm mind. I need to have a good, positive mindset. And if I don't have that, then I'm not inclined to train, because training doesn't necessarily make it better for me. I might be shooting worse and regressing rather than making progress and enjoying myself. So if I find that I can't make a positive experience of this particular day, then I won't go and train. I also find the lack of training partners to be a problem. Even though archery is an individualistic sport, it's not as fun sometimes. Like, sometimes you want to hang around with people. A lot of people join clubs for the social element, not so much the training, but the social element. And look, this may sound like an excuse where, what's stopping me from going out and training by myself? Well, nothing. But at the same time, like, having someone to train with is very beneficial. For one, you learn more by shooting with better people. And when you shoot with people who are less experienced than you, that sharing of experience reinforces what you've learned. It's a very fun interaction. You learn so much from each other by watching each other, by observing your shooting technique. It's a way in which you can bolster your training. Now, I used to have many training partners. So, I used to rotate through several, but people have moved on. They've moved countries, moved cities, stopped doing archery. And that lack of having a partner, having a rival even, kind of demotivates you. Because in a way, having someone to shoot with forces you to do your best. It's really easy if you're having a bad day or you're shooting a bad round to walk off and go home. Because you're by yourself, no one's going to judge you, no one's going to stop you. But when you're with somebody else, there's that pressure. You don't want to look bad in front of somebody else. You're having a bad shot, you're having a bad day, and he's having a bad day, but he's still shooting, you want to keep shooting. It forces you to commit to your training, where you can't go, oh, I'm doing really badly, that's it, I'm going home. I think not having a consistent training partner is affecting me. I used to have people to call out and say, let's go and train. And now I'm running out of people. I still have some, but it's just not as consistent. It's just that the idea of choice and free will. If you give people the choice to train, they might choose not to. And that, again, demotivates me. The way around this is to basically go to another club. That means driving hours across town to train somewhere else. And I'm not sure if I'm that passionate and that committed to take that extra step. One of the biggest barriers this year has been the club duties. Now, in a larger club where things are more sustainable, then you generally see a better spread of workload, and there are more volunteers to help out. In a small club, it comes down to a handful of people who have to carry most of the weight. As club president, I've had to be the face of the club for a lot of things. That's handling the administration. That's being the point of contact for anyone coming into the club and doing archery. That's handling interaction with the local council and the sporting associations, and basically making decisions for the club. In a sustainable club with strong committee members, it's normally rubber stamping what's already been decided. But as a period of rebuilding, a lot of it has to cover for new committee members, people are coming and going. And in a lot of ways, you take it quite personally. When people leave the club, you kind of ask yourself, well, could I have done something more? Is it my fault? Could the club have done more to help this particular person? So seeing growth makes you feel good, but also takes a lot of time out of you. I'm also involved as an archery instructor at the club. So I'm not the club coach, but I do assist the coach in running the beginners, the come and try program, and doing one-on-one instructing with the intermediate people. So again, if I'm coaching somebody else, that's time invested into somebody else, not to my training. And the biggest example is if a new member comes with a new bow, they've bought it from the store, it's all in plastic wrap, then we're going to spend an hour setting it up, because that's the fun part. It's when you have a brand new bow, you want to enjoy using before you walk out. You want to walk up with a brand new shiny bow which you can shoot as much as you want. And that means doing strings, doing knock points, tuning, teach them how to set it up, teach them how to string it, how to brace it properly, walk them through the basic shot process if they haven't learned already. It might take 1 or 2 hours. And this isn't time wasted. This is more than worth the time invested in someone's equipment, someone's new hobby. And I think that's very important. At the same time, that's time taken out of your training, of my training. So normally I would have, if I spent 2 hours coaching someone or setting someone's equipment, then I'm going to spend an extra 2 hours staying back to do my own training. But sometimes you don't feel like it. You're too tired, it's getting too late, and you have other things to do. So, I don't regret doing this, but it's also a very big factor in why I've lost that drive to train. I think that's my biggest weakness as an archer. I'm not selfish enough. Inherently, I'm going to put people in front of me. I want to put the club first. I want to put other people first. But I'm not giving myself the chance to take the time and do things right. I'm not giving it a go. I'm not putting myself out there. I used to be really stubborn when I was younger. When I started shooting, I used to love shooting every day. 2 or 3 hours every day. Shot through wind, shot through rain, shot through sun. When it got dark, I was still shooting. I had blisters on my fingers and I was still shooting. That was the hallmark of me starting out. I had the archer's tan. I don't have the tan. It's the middle of summer and I have no archer's tan. That's how far things have gone. I'm not out there enough. I'm not putting myself out there enough. That's what's holding me back. It's a hard thing to say, but I feel like all these factors, the light ones and the heavy ones, have kind of put me in this period of stagnation where I'm not doing enough. And I think in the coming year, if I really want to advance in archery, I have to be more self-centered. I have to put things aside, delegate more, and say, alright, I am going to train. I need to focus on me. That's what I need to say to myself. So to answer the question, what stops me from training, those are the reasons why. Time and weather, but the big reasons are work commitments, club commitments, and life commitments. I know some people watching this are expecting to see some kind of the secrets of being a good archer, but really, this is the human side. this is the archery journey. For me, it's different than most people. I've had to do more things than what a typical backyard shooter would do. I've had to run a club. I'm making an archery channel. All these things are my experiences, and my experience is different than your experiences. So if you're having this period where you're struggling to advance, you're reaching a plateau, and you're not really, finding that passion, you're not alone. I'm going through the same thing myself, and I'm hoping that in the coming year, 2016, that I set myself more positive goals, that I'm more proactive in my training, and all these things can be done. And while you may know of many Olympic hopefuls who go from being a young teenage, talented athlete to being an Olympic champion in a few years, not everyone's journey will turn out that way. Some people will take longer than others. And in many ways, that archery journey is an analogy for your path in life. Anyway, I hope that you have positive goals and a growth in your passion in archery and in whatever else you do in 2016. This is NUSensei. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting, and I'll see you next time.